The Auburn Tigers wrap up their historic non-conference slate, taking down Monmouth 87-58. Welcome on into this live edition of Locked On Auburn. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and joining me is Ben Taylor of the Auburn Netowrk. You can hear him every single morning on News Talk WANI. Ben, lots of talking points to get to, but I guess the big thing was Auburn. I don't know. It's more of a game for longer than pretty much everybody would have predicted. I think it was tied with like 9 minutes left to go in the first half. And then after that, obviously it was all Auburn, but kind of a bit of a slow start by Auburn and a hot start by Monmouth, but it all evened out and it kind of ended around where we thought it all would.
Clearly, Bruce and staff wanted to try something different. Dylan takes the opening tip instead of Jakai in order to get the game started. Now, we still win the tip, but started doing some different things offensively, and then all of a sudden Monmouth, who shoots 30-something, 33%, I think was what was referenced from three-point line, they bury three in a row. I think they got up to five and then hit a couple other shots, some floaters inside, and so they couldn't miss. It's not that Auburn couldn't hit, they just weren't as hot as Monmouth was. And so after the exchanges, I think you saw the athleticism take over. I think I told you, I was texting you about it, and I said, well, clearly they decided when it got tied at 24, okay, before this gets out of hand and we have a game that goes late like Bama did at North Dakota, let's go ahead and start pounding inside, let Jakai have some touches. Dylan had some touches inside too, and clearly the size was too much for Monmouth to be able to handle.
Yeah. And there was a moment, it's probably like 4-ish minutes left to go in the first half where Chad Baker-Mazara hit the three and got fouled for the chance for the 4-point play. That kind of felt like the dagger of like, okay, all right, we're back to where we needed to be. Auburn's going to be able to run them out of the gym if they really want to. And that's exactly what happened really after that moment.
Can we talk about the people sitting down there that didn't clap nor move? They just all sat there and smiled. Are they given strict instructions they can't do anything when a player's near them?
I don't know, man, but it's sad. Especially with like how energetic these players are.
I know.
It's like, and it looked like he was looking up at him, like yelling, like, let's go or something. And they're just like,
yeah, they also like some of them didn't even clap. They just sat there and smiled and like looked at each other like, what are we supposed to do?
Dap them up. Let's go.
I know. I thought dog pile. Everybody jump on that. The old dude should have jumped on top of him.
That would have been electric. And Chad would have totally been okay with it.
Then that guy probably would have lost his seats the rest of the year. But I think Chad would have been totally okay with it.
Oh, I think they would have been okay with it. Then in the second half, they kind of ran away with it. And so I love seeing the panic early on of like, oh my goodness, it would be the most Auburn thing in the world to lose to Monmouth after, the non-conference that they had. And like, while that's true, it's like, come on, guys, like this isn't sustainable for 40 minutes with this team. There's no way. And obviously it wasn't.
Well, Zach, I think the thing is, though, is we've seen it from other teams around the country. Everybody's done it. Alabama did it on the road, but still, just their win the other night, that team still put 80-plus up on them. And so they still scored. You start looking at other teams like the Gonzagas of the world. You start looking at the North Carolinas of the world, and they're letting subpar teams play them late and have a chance at the end. Even the UConns of the world. Memphis was highly ranked at one point in time, especially when Auburn beat them out in Hawaii, and then they go and lose to some Division IV school at home in Memphis. And so I think Auburn fans were probably sitting there at the beginning of the game going, is it our turn? Is it Auburn's turn now to have that letdown, to have that, that after the break? And I got to be honest with you, I got a little worried. I follow a lot of these guys on social media. I noticed that a lot of them were at their hometowns even throughout the weekend. So it's almost like they probably drove in or flew in yesterday or last night.
I'm sure this is a stressful week or two for coaches all across the country because it's like, all right, I got to send them home to go with their families. Like, obviously, it's like, I hope they come back ready and dialed in.
Well, Chad Baker was in Dominican, like on Friday. He's going live on Instagram. And I'm like, we had a game Monday, so I don't know when he plans on getting, because that was live. That wasn't just a post. So clearly, and they need the time. They need to be with their family. But
totally.
The downtime, it makes you wonder how fresh they. And maybe maybe that's why they started a little slow, if you want to call it that.
Maybe
I think it was a combination of Monmouth just being hot to start with, and then they cooled off it. They weren't going to shoot 85% the entire game.
No, not Monmouth. Not Monmouth.
No. So it was what I thought it would be at the end. I was kind of hoping for 90 plus, about got there. So it's about what I expected.
Yeah, I mean, they could have scored as much as they wanted to if they wanted to keep guys in. So a big talking point, and we talked about this in the last line. We've talked about it on a few Locked On Auburns and other shows. Like, what do the minutes look like in garbage time, in cleanup duty? And like Jakai Howard played more minutes tonight than he typically does. Played 17 minutes, was 3 of 8 from the floor, 6 points, but two electric dunks.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude just floats and is explosive as can be. What do you think Jakai Howard's role is once SEC play is here, which will be Saturday?
Clearly, I think they're still trying to figure that out because they wanted him to shoot from the outside a few times tonight. He took some questionable shots that you could almost see the bench screaming at him to shoot when he touched the ball on the outside. So I think they want him more involved offensively. Defensively, I think he's fine. He's going to be a guy that creates havoc and is going to have some fast break points. So
yeah,
I think he's going to be fine. And his length allows him to be able to even guard a 4 if he gets stuck on him down low, and the way he's able to explode, he can still protect the rim and grab rebounds while he's down there. So I think they want more of a role from him, and they clearly see that as far as transition points are concerned. I'd like to see him tighten up a little bit from the half court side. And now, as I said, I think some of it was forced tonight. I think some of it was as soon as he touched the ball, they were trying to include him in the game plan. So he took some shots that maybe he may not be told or be advised not to take whenever SEC play begins.
Yeah, I just don't know how he fits, because like when Auburn was peaking or playing their best ball of the year, like he's not out there. So I'm just curious to see what that looks like, because I don't know how you can be a coach and look at Jakai Howard and be like, we gotta play him. Like he's got to do something.
I think we see less Chris Moore and more Jakai Howard whenever SEC play begins, because Chris is clearly a hole in the offense, and Jakai at least is able to create, even if he has to go around somebody and get to the rim,
or over someone,
or over someone. So I think we probably see less Chris Moore and more Jakai Howard whenever conference play begins this weekend.
Yeah, Chris Moore played 10 minutes. Jakai played 17, so I certainly agree with that. I think
it stays in that role too. I think it's Chris's minutes have slowly diminished as the season
Chris won't play
on.
10 minutes a game in SEC play.
No, 8, 7, maybe.
Oh, that might be. I think that's high.
I think 7 minimum, 10 if you get guys in foul trouble, just because they'll just need a body on the floor.
Okay.
That'd be the only time he probably sees double-digit minutes.
But I'm surprised on like the other side of this when you talk about minutes and what we were thinking. And I mean, we got to talk about JP Pegues in this, and we also got to talk about Denver Jones. The guy's forgotten how to miss. All that's next right here on this live reaction show here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Rocket Money. Ben, let me ask you a question. Going into the new year, we got all these goals. Do you think anybody's goal is, I want to be worse with my money next year?
Worse financially? No.
Yeah. Anybody like, I wish we were worse off financially? Nobody says that.
No.
And so if you're watching or listening to this, you need to download Rocket Money. You can go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon. It pretty much pulls up all of your subscriptions, and I haven't talked to anybody who's used this and been like, oh yeah, there was a subscription I'm paying for that I'm not using. Like, it's just such a common thing. When we did this, Ben, I don't know if you've been on when I've said this, but like Leah and I did it, and I had my own Amazon Prime account and she had her own Amazon Prime account. And it's like, all right, whatever. Well, great. Yeah. No need for that. So, want people to head over to rocketmoney.com/lockedon, cancel your unwanted subscriptions, and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. All right, the Auburn Tigers take down Monmouth 87-58. And JP Pegues, man, we talked about it a ton, where it's like, all right, it's going to be interesting to see how many minutes he plays. And most people thought it was going to be more. And I was of the camp of like, I don't know. I don't think they're interested in playing him. I don't think they are. And I think tonight proved that. I mean, tonight proved he played 5 minutes. His plus minus was -9, by the way. He was 0 for 1, made a really bad 3, wasn't even close.
No.
And it's just like this coaching staff doesn't seem interested at all at playing him at this point. And I don't think it's going to happen. I saw a few people in live chat saying maybe JP Pegues will come around. I don't think he's even going to be given the opportunity at this point to come around.
If he wasn't given the opportunity tonight in the first half, because Auburn pulled away in the first half, he could have been out there grabbing some garbage minutes with about 5 minutes remaining in the first half of play, just to get his whistle wet. Just go ahead and, get him up and down the floor a little bit, maybe bust a sweat, and then bring him in about midway through the second half. I think it's very telling that we're seeing him walk out with the walk-ons at the end of the game. And I'm sure that's tough on him mentally. I mean, it's got to be. But
I mean, he was one of the hot names in the portal coming from Furman. A lot of people wanted him. It was a big deal when Auburn won that recruiting battle for him.
Yes.
And it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked at all.
Or didn't turn the ball over. I told you, it's not like he just shot lights out, but the thing is, he was solid. He didn't make a lot of misses. I mean, he's going to shoot in the high 30, low 40 percentile range. Hit his free throws when he was at Furman. So, I mean, he's a guy, he's a solid player, you would think, would be on the floor, especially at a point guard position that doesn't turn the ball over, especially with all the athletes you have around you at Auburn.
Right.
That's the guy you want. And clearly it's not showing up in practice, or he'd be given more minutes in the game, Zach. So it's not like he just is shuddering when it's game time. And nothing against Monmouth, but this is against Monmouth. Like, he should have gotten more minutes. This is not Missouri. This is not Oklahoma. This is not Bama. It's Monmouth. Yeah,
you got to think if this was a situation where the coaching staff would be okay with him kind of shooting through it, or, giving him more reps just to kind of get his confidence back, this would have been the time. And they were not interested in that. And I think we need to listen. Let's listen to what this coaching staff is showing us. The other side of this, when you talk about the point guard position, Denver Jones,
stud.
You're just going to look at it as like 9 points, 3 rebounds in 25 minutes, whatever. The guy has forgotten how to miss from 3.
Yeah.
I mean, he is just automatic from outside. 3 for 3 tonight. And my question is always like, if you're 3 for 3, why are you only shooting it 3 times from deep? That's always my thing. But he is gotten to be such a reliable outside scorer. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. He's a good defender too, Ben. He's a really, really good basketball player.
He's the guy you're going to see. He and Chad Baker-Mazar are going to be the two guys you see take on their number ones and number twos out front. I mean, they're going to be the guys that they put on. And Denver is one that can lock somebody up. I do wish he would be a little more selfish, but his personality just doesn't translate that way. When you hear him in interviews, when you hear his comments, he's almost like, I'm a team guy. This is the role they've asked me to play. This is what I'm going to play. And at some point, though, I do think that Bruce or somebody on the bench calls for him. All right, we need you right now. I got to have you step up. Like, I understand I got you at the 1. I need you. I need you to get rid of the ball. I need you to move. I need you to get open somewhere, and find a opening, because he is that type guy. You're right that. Yes, he does miss, but it doesn't seem like it, and he gets good shots. Zach, he's not forcing anything. He works his way open, and
that's why he goes 3 for 4, 3 for 3 every night. It's like, it's going to be a good shot. It's not a wasted possession. He's such a smart team first guy. I mean, any coach in the world will take a million Denver Jones on their team.
And so I don't know if we see. Tahad didn't come into a little bit later tonight, and I don't know if we see a little more Tahad with some Denver at the 2, a little bit more when conference play begins, just to see if they can get Denver a little more involved offensively and let him move without the ball. Because Tahad's clearly proven. I know Bruce said he wanted to be the 2, but he's proven he can still get his shot off at the 1. So he's still getting his looks at the 1. So why not put him in control of the ball?
Yeah. Yeah. Auburn didn't really shoot the ball that well tonight. 29 of 66. That's just under 44%, 43.9%. And how much of that was Monmouth? How much of that was in the last few minutes putting in the walk-ons and Pegues didn't really help you that much? But
at the end, I didn't see us hit a shot. So there's that. I mean, it's almost like we got stuck on 85 until right there at the end.
Yeah. And so it's I'm glad this scoring night came against Monmouth.
Mm-hmm.
But also, was it because we were playing Monmouth where they didn't shoot as well? I don't know. Chicken or the egg kind of thing, I guess.
I definitely think that has something to do with it because, as I mentioned before, I think this had everything to do with they had a certain game plan to begin the game. And like you said, once it was tied at 24, about 9-10 minutes into the first half, it was almost like, all right, let's go back to what we're good at and let's open this back up so we can get some people some playing time. So I think if they start the game with even Jakai taking the opening tip and them having a set play right out of the get-go in order to grab points, I think we're talking about a different ball game, in my opinion.
Maybe, but all in all, I mean, this team just continues to do everything that they need to do. Jakai,
I'm complaining about a 30-point win.
I mean, it's such a great spot to be in. Jakai with a quiet double-double despite him not having his most efficient night. 14 points, 11 rebounds. Chad Baker-Mazara was red hot in the first half, including that 4-point play opportunity that we talked about that kind of felt like the dagger, felt like the game was over after that point. Dylan Cardwell, electric, 5 of 8 for 12 points. And then Chaney Johnson, his quiet, 3 for 5, 12 points. I don't love that Chaney shot 2 threes. I don't love that, but it's against Monmouth, so who cares?
Yeah. I mean, that's and we go back to, I told you, the electricity. This is why I think that you have to have Jakai in the lineup too. I mean, we mentioned those lobs that everybody keeps talking about. It's going to make Sports Center both of them, because one was a windmill, the other one was a reverse jam. The reverse looked very similar when I was in school, of Doc Robinson to Bryant Smith, and also from half court for a reverse jam. That was in conference play, though. That was a little different than Monmouth, but still.
What year would that have been, Ben?
In the 90s.
Okay.
You trying to say something? I mean, that's not as long back. It's not as far back as Daryl.
No, it's not. That's true.
I had to throw that. Happy birthday, Double D, by the way.
Yeah. Dap turning 21 today.
That's what he says. There's not a soul on this earth is going to believe him if he goes to back.
I believe him.
Somewhere. You believe him?
I believe him. Sure. Okay. Yeah, I believe him.
But yeah, it was that's the kind of thing when people talk about the athleticism of this team, that's what you'll be able to see. And that's the kind of stuff that I've watched a lot of basketball at the beginning of the season, just because I kind of want to see where Auburn stands. And I haven't seen that out of other teams. Kentucky every once in a while. Alabama still hasn't got that guy that does something like that. So
AU Tiger 97 is saying Dylan's first double-double. Is that true? There's no way.
No.
Is that right?
So he's been held under double digits, but he's had to have double-digit rebounds just about every game.
Is that right? That's wild. That is crazy.
If
that's the case, we should have led with that.
Yeah, we should have.
If that's the case, we should have led with that. All right, TK is confirming it. That's insane. Yeah, here it is. Wild. Dylan Cardwell has played 141 career college basketball games and just recorded his first double-double. Wow.
That's amazing.
It's kind of hard to do with how much he's played, and he scored double digits a good bit. And I'm sure he's had double-digit rebounds. I guess they just haven't lined up at the same time.
Well, and Jakai was even out last year. I mean, he missed one game this year, but was pulled out of the game. But even last year, he missed a couple of games, and so it was all Dylan. I said, that is awesome for him, number one.
Yeah, good for him.
Awesome. I think that's well deserved. But number two, that is just shocking.
That is shocking.
He's in his seventh year.
All right, player of the game. Player of the game, Ben. We always do our player of the game live chat. Drop your player of the game nominees. I'm going Denver Jones here.
Well, not me. I'm going Dylan Cardwell because he got his first double-double.
I guess we kind of have to, don't we?
I mean,
yeah, you're right.
We can't take that away from him.
Yeah,
we're kind of torn here. It's like a pitcher throwing like a one hitter and another guy
normally
going 5
we add
for
the
5.
caveat. Normally we're like, other than Janai Broom, who was the player of the game. So maybe we do other than Dylan Cardwell.
Okay, other than Dylan getting his double-double, who was the player of the game? All right, I'll take that.
And I'll say Denver. But yeah, no, it's got to be Dylan. That's so good for him.
Yeah,
that's so good for him.
As you see everybody in the chats, Dylan. Yeah,
it should be.
That's why we had to go.
That's the right answer.
Other than Dylan, who would it be?
That's the right answer.
Yeah.
My mom says Chad Bacon lasagna, which I think is a good answer too, especially in the first half. All right, so Ben, also we usually wrap up every live reaction show with predicting what Auburn's record over the next 5 games are. And so this one's important because it's the start of conference play. So it's the first 5 SEC games. So Auburn on Saturday will host Missouri to start SEC play. They go to Boston to take on Texas. They go to South Carolina. They host Mississippi State, and they go to Georgia. And I think the most likely outcome is 4-1 in that stretch. But I will say 5-0 because I just can't pick against this team right now.
I'm going to go 4-1, and I'm going to say Mississippi State.
Let us know in the live chat. What's Auburn's record in the next 5 games?
And Mississippi State's going to be dangerous.
At home?
Yeah, even at home. Mississippi State is a bunch of dogs. I mean, they are dangerous. They are somebody to watch out. They have flown under the radar, in my opinion.
I would rank that as like the 3rd most worrisome game in that stretch. And I would put the 2 road games ahead of it. It's just so hard to win on the road in this league, especially this year.
Well, see, Texas, I never consider that a road game because they play at a city facility. It just has a big Longhorn painted in the middle of the floor. It's not even on campus. So I don't even count that that's like a neutral site game. So the Texas game is a neutral site game. I'm not calling that a home game for them.
Saturday night at 8:00 is when they'll play in Austin. It's kind of unusual. You don't really see a whole lot of like late Saturday tips, it seems like.
I don't.
Does that matter? I don't know.
I don't see them being very affected by that at all. I think they'll be fine at that one.
Yeah, that's cool.
And South Carolina's this year, and South Carolina's kind of not what we thought South Carolina. Now they could turn it around. I mean, South Carolina could be a team that kind of comes from out of nowhere and upsets a few people, especially with conference play because they have played a fairly tough schedule. But yeah, my most worrisome would probably be the Mississippi State game. Even though it is at home, I still mark that as being one of the toughest games to get through.
So Missouri is ranked 50th in KenPom, who Auburn will play next. Mississippi State, to your credit, is ranked 20th in KenPom. I assume that'll be the highest in this stretch. Where is South Carolina at?
Oh, South Carolina, like 89th.
63. Let's give a little respect. Okay? Just a little. So, yeah, I mean, according to KenPom, that I'm just not worried about home games. Maybe that's overconfidence. I don't know. I just don't think Auburn loses at home this year.
It's gonna be tough, but they've got some tough games at home. I mean, it's especially the one to end the season. I mean, that could come down to two of the top 5 teams in the nation going head to head against one another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think Mississippi guy says Auburn is mid, not a championship team. What a take.
Apparently Will Baker hasn't watched any basketball this
what
year.
A take. He's literally Saturn.
That's
it's literally Saturn.
You sure that's Saturn? I'm an astrology guy.
Yeah, it's got the ring around it.
Yeah. Yeah, that Auburn is mid, not a championship team.
What a take.
That's just a troll running in there to jump on there and say that's.
Let's get a real profile picture.
I mean, yeah. Let's not be anonymous.
You're not a planet.
Here he is, Saturn, making Uranus out of himself.
Nice. Well done. Who are you to think that you can just take Saturn as your own likeness?
Yeah.
Coming in here saying Auburn's mid. What are you doing?
Be more appropriate if you took Pluto. They're not even a planet anymore. It's not even a planet anymore. I think Pluto is. They dropped it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I wouldn't know what Pluto looked like. If you show me a picture of Pluto, I'm like, I don't know. Saturn, I'm like, oh, it's got the ring.
It's got the ring.
I know that one. Maybe Mars. All right.
Oh man. Yeah, that's an awful take just because of who they played. I mean, just you look at the schedule, and I guarantee you there's a few teams out there that would not say that Auburn's trash. Houston being one of them. Memphis would probably be another that would tell you that as well. I mean, some guys that probably thought they had a chance, and
Ohio State felt pretty good about themselves.
Yeah, Ohio State. There was a kid from Ohio State I saw on their, not message boards, shared via Twitter. It was being shared by a bunch of Auburn people. Somebody said the matchups may have them playing each other again in the tournament. And this kid jumps in here and goes, I do not ever want to see Auburn again the rest of the season. So apparently the Ohio State fans are believers in Auburn for sure.
Yeah. All right. Ben, how can people check out everything you've got going on? And also thank you for stepping in with Daryl. Daryl wanted to go to the game tonight for his birthday. So Ben stepping in, really appreciate it.
Yep. Big flex by Daryl celebrating his 21st. He can grab hopefully a adult beverage at the game tonight, since they do sell those now. Good for him. 6A to 9A on News Talk WANI. Go to aunetwork.com and just click on the WANI logo or download the Radio Alabama app.
Yep. And hey, please like the video. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.